Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, and this is Windows Server 2025 complete master course from zero to expert, and this is part 17th video in this course. And in this video we are going to focus on concept of DNS and what are the basic terminology or things which you should understand from the beginner standpoint for regarding the DNS. So we are going to basically discuss each and every point which is basic concept, creates the basic concept around the DNS infrastructure. So let's start with the very basic question: what is DNS? So DNS stands for domain name system. Is a service that basically translate domain name into the IP address, so the computer can find and communicate with each other. So in a simple example, you can see if you type www.labsenson.lan in your browser, basically the DNS checks the lookups the name, and then it returns the IP address of a specific IP address which is there in configured as a basically labsenson.lan, and then your browsers connect to that IP address and open the website. So this is the very basic example. Same example you can consider with the google.com basically. So DNS basically tells you translate the domain name into the IP address. So now why DNS is important? So before we go there, let me show you something. So in our course throughout we deployed two domain controllers, and both are integrated with Active Directory DNS services. And now if I go here in simple, and let's open terminal for example, and let's try to do ns lookup, which is basically we are trying to resolve the name server, and then I'll type, let's say, labsenson.lan. So it will basically go to our DNS server, which DNS server is configured for this. So if I show you IP config /all, so I have this .11 configured as a primary DNS server, you can see here. So that DNS server basically returns the IP address name of domain name to the IP address basically. So this is what DNS basically does. So it resolves the host name to the IP address. So why DNS is important? So name resolution, DNS translate domain name to the IP address, and user friendly. Users can access resources using name basically instead of remembering IP address. So if you remember, for example, there are thousands of websites all over the places on the internet, and you cannot basically keep the record of all the IP address. So it is very easy to call any website or any services by their DNS name, and at the backend basically DNS help them to resolve that as a IP address, and then you will get the response based on the IP address or the request which you are trying to resolve. So essential for services, many Windows services such as Active Directory, DNS Exchange depends on Active Directory. Services depends on the DNS, and so if you talk about these days, everything basically depends on the DNS. If DNS is broken, your application will broke, your website browsing is not going to work. So the DNS is one of the most common and a critical thing in any infrastructure. And reliability, proper DNS ensure the application and website is always reachable. That's why we have multiple time you have seen there are multiple DNS option DNS stars configured. So let's say if this DNS goes down, you have a second DNS or third DNS to resolve your infrastructure based on your requirement. And how DNS works. So when you basically type www.labsenson.lan or .com in your website, basically DNS queries your computer. Your computer basically asks the DNS server for the IP address of the name. So basically what I did here, so same thing, it will basically ask your DNS server what is the IP name, IP address against this host name which you are trying to resolve. And then once the IP address is resolved, then the DNS server look up the records and it returns the IP address, and then your computer connect to the and loads the website. So same thing, here is my DNS server. So if I open Windows DNS server, so you will see inside the DNS basically you will have these records created, a host record. So that's why it's telling you basically when we are trying to resolve the labs and son.lan, it's basically resolving to these two domain controllers IP address, because these are configured as name server for us, you can see here, and the domain which is hosted in this name server is labs and son.lan. That's why it's resolving these two IPs basically. So there are common DNS records type also. So A type, basically A record, these are the very common, you can see, you can find anywhere. So basically A records map the domain or host name to IPv4. 4 time A, basically this maps to the domain or host name to the IPv6 address. CNAME basically maps the alias name to basically a real name. So let me show you. If you want, you can basically create a CNAME from here, and then you can call it, let's say I want to call this server, let's say core server as something. So I'll create a core, and then FQDN, I can place any FQDN records. Even you can basically browse the forward records, and you can go here, and let's say if I select this record and click OK, and then if I basically ns lookup this core, it will go and resolve this IP address which is behind this. So let me show you this also. So if I do ns lookup and core, so you can see here core is resolving to the name which we have mapped here, and it's giving the IP address. So alias is core, and then it's resolving the exact server behind this core. So this is very common. Let's say if you want to have any API or web server and you want to call it by application name, you can call it. So similar, if I basically let's say delete this, and I create one CNAME for API, let's say API prod, and then I mount something here. Let's say I'll go this time and mount the same core IP, or maybe let's say this time I'll mount Windows client basically. So now if I go and do ns lookup for API-prod, so it will basically go and resolve that name. So you can see here. So the CNAME is very common to use in production infrastructure to have a mapping done. And then we have MX record, especially mail server, basically specifically for mail server to the domain, such as if you want the mail server, you can create MX record. So basically if you go here, you should be able to see new mail exchange record also. You can create a email exchange record also. So, and then you have a PTR record, so maps the IP address to the domain name, which is reverse lookup. So if I go here, you can see the reverse lookup. We basically map here IP addresses to hostname. So this is one of the critical record types. Some of the application and basically which require a PTR record also. Then we have a NS record, which is specify the authority name server for the domain. So if I go here, you can see ns.labsandson.lan. So if I go here, you should be able to see NS record also. So go to property, you can see the name server, and if I go to basically let me show you from PowerShell. So you can see here name server also. If you want to check the name server from any basically destination remote machine, you can basically go and type get DNS server resource, clean this and run this command for you. So this is the command. So get DNS server resource record and zone name. Basically we are specifying the zone name, and then record type is NS. So it will tell you the name server record also. So this is what you will get. So name server is very important for any infrastructure. Then we have a basically SRV record. So locate services host plus protocol for application. So you can see LDAP and .tcp underscore labsandson.lan. So let me show you these records also. So if you go here, you should be able to see basically a TCP, and then you have a LDAP record. You can see this is the record So domain name, and then we have a port number, weightage and all, and then we have a Corboros record, also key password, and then global catalog and all those things. So we have all these record, which is basically SRV records. So what is DNS caching? So this is one of the most important thing when you play around with the DNS and do troubleshooting. So cache is basically DNS servers and client store the query result in their cache for the specific time, which is known as a TTL. So if the same query is made again, the cache result is going to return immediately. This reduce the network traffic and speed up name resolution. So if you see here, the query, let's say, goes for labs-hands-on.lan and query the authoritative DNS, it will tell response will come, and then response from the basically it's going to be a cache if the TTL is specified. So let me show you, for each record we have a TTL. So let's say for this record, if I go and basically try to see, go to advanced, and now if I try to see here, you should be able to see this this record has TTL for 1 hour basically. So basically once we queried this record, it is next time whenever we are going to hit this record, it's basically based on the TTL. It will not going to ask again the authoritative DNS server to get the DNS result. So that's why most of the basically critical application and where you have a DR failover scenarios, and you don't want to basically put your um, uh, TTL for very long hours or basically minutes. So most of the time production application keep their TTL as much as low. So if there is any dependency, so if the application is broken, if you have to do a DCDR activity or something like that, and you want your basically end clients to fetch the new DNS record, so you should keep your TTL as less as you can. So this is keeping the TTL for a specific time or reducing the specific time. Most of the time it's going to be a architecture level decision. So but TTL is one of the most important thing when you do a troubleshooting related to DNS. Let's say if you updated the DNS at the server end, but your client is still able to find the old DNS because it's coming from the cache. So you need to make sure your cache is cleared and your TCP TTL is reduced. And these are the two type of records, so forward and reverse. So now let me show you. So the very simple thing is forward lookup zone map the domain name to the IP address. So whatever domain name we have, it will map with the A host record or any other record with the value or IP address basically. Forward lookup zone basically resolve to the hostname to the IP address, and reverse lookup zone as per name. So reverse lookup zone basically map the IP address to the domain name and use for the reverse DNS lookup PTR basically. So this is what it is. So you can see here we have already one reverse lookup zone which we have created before in the when we install our Active Directory server. So it's basically resolve the hostname IP address to the hostname. So you can see these are the PTR record. It is our hostname to the IP address to the hostname basically. And then we have a next thing which is conditional forward. This is also very important topic. So conditional forward is used to forward DNS query for a specific domain to other server. So it helps to resolving name server in other domain or forest. Example, forward or queries for let's say contoso.com to one of the DNS servers. So anything any request which is coming for a specific domain, it will forward to this server, and then this is the how query goes. So let me show you. So if I go here conditional forward, you can see there are no conditional forward created. So if you go here, right click conditional forward, you can basically put the name. So let's say I'll put basically lho.lan, and then I can put any IP address, let's say 10.10.10.10. So now if any request which is coming from for lho.lan from here, it will basically forward to this server. So now let me see here. So if I do ns-lookup to app.lho.lan, LAN. So basically it will not resolve because this DNS server is currently not responding. However, this request will basically go to this conditional forwarder in that case. So these are the some basic which you should be aware before playing around the DNS servers. So now in next video we are going to install our first standalone DNS server. For now we have two DNS server, but both are running on our Active Directory domain server. So now we will in next video we will install our DNS server separately on a Windows Server 2025. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe me for more videos, and if you have any query, any question, you can always post me my given mail IDs. Thank you once again. Bye bye.